The beauty of music lies in the sound. A combination of various instruments are brought together to produce an awesome sound that reaches many hearts. But people tend to forget the magical hands behind the awesome work. Yes, today we feature an award-winning songwriter, producer, guitarist, a man who has featured in more than 1,000 albums. Imagine, he is a legend indeed. We have Clive Mkundo right now on Living Legends. I see Mono is already with me. Mono, good to see you.
Good to see you, Massy, and thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Inga studio maganako.
Yeah, maganaka tutambuza maushando.
This is nice. I've seen Muma streets Mkuti. They call you a God's favorite. Ndiana kapazite.
Yeah, ndakazvipa zvimwe zvinhu ndezvongozvikoresa ukabhozi kana uchiverenga Bible pane this disciple waJesu ainzi John akanyora the book of John aitotaura kuti the disciple that Jesus loved akazoenda akanorara pamakumba aJesu apa achizvitaura iye saka it's the same thing ndongozvikoresa kuti Mwari anenge anonakirwa neni still saka I'm his favorite. But ndikatarisawo a lot of people andakashanda now, the majority of the people that I worked with tichitanga they all passed away and taiita zvivi zvakangofanana saka ndangofunga ndimei pamwe the reason why Mwari andinzvengesa ari kunakirwa neni, so I'm his favorite.
Ndaseka, thank you so much for joining me on Living Legends. It's really an honor to have you.
Thank you.
All right, so we get... thank you. Yeah,
ndaruwe are makeka aoreka ndanenge akaiswa beer samemi chitomwa beer.
All right, so we get to business. When you started learning your guitar, your father was against it. Now I see Takakunda is doing very well as a guitarist in the industry. Tell me about those two experiences.
Yeah, my father was very much against me venturing into the music industry, and it was because of how the industry image had been tarnished by, I think, the first or second generation of Zimbabwean musicians. So it was not coming out of a place of hate or being cruel. It was coming out of a place of love. But I just thought I would make a difference and prove to my father that you can be a musician and you can be married and have children and have a proper normal life. So I'm happy that I managed to do that. And at the same time, when my son started also venturing into the music industry, I knew what the industry looks like. So I gave him my blessing. And it's also a good thing with my father changed his mind later on because he called me, I think 2001, I thought, you now have my blessings. And as soon as he said that, you know, blessing is the biggest blessing one can have.
That's nice. All right. So after some failed attempts to form a successful band, how did you end up in Mutare?
After I tried to form about two bands, Maraire, Jaramba, a certain young man anonzi Chikokoko approached me, but very flashy and very flamboyant with the Ndawana contract Mutare, then she got up a hotel. Hotel and everything. It was sounding very nice, so Tavango move over the Mutare. But to our shock, Patakasco anything. So even Pegurara Chapapa story, and it's Zagatombo told me for some time, but that's the story of how we got to Mutare.
1995, something led you into gospel musician, and you played with you actually worked with great musicians like Ivy Combo as well as Kerom Jokoro. Tell us about that transition.
Okay, that was Tuesday, 20th June 1994, when I converted to Christianity. There are a number of issues that contributed to the conversion. That time I remember my girlfriend Jean was pregnant, and her parents didn't want to marry me to marry her, and my father didn't want me to marry her. So I'm going to want both sides, and my father was threatening to Zingapamba. So pandaka-approach kubva ndauzonzi kuchechi you'll be full employed full time then uchibhadharwa mari saka ndabva ndangofeel kuti I think uku kune future yakanaka. That's how I became I was employed by the church and I converted to Christianity and I worked with a lot of artists as a session musician. But pandakatanga 1994 I was a member yainzi Ejia Gospel Train, and Ejia Gospel Train with Ivy Combo, Eni Combo, and Kerom Joko. So that was my starting point into the gospel music industry, and I was in the industry from 1994 to 2002.
Okay, that's wonderful. In my introduction, I mentioned that you have worked with musicians and you have produced over 1,000 albums. Tell me about it.
Yeah, the Zimbabwe music industry abused me because 1,000 albums is a lot. But I was mainly working as a session musician. And I think the biggest number of albums that I worked on were gospel music albums. When I converted to Christianity in 1994, there were there were no lead guitarists in the gospel music fraternity. So I was sort of like the guitarist that was playing for everybody, from Wanama and the Brothers, in Wana Celebration Choir. So that's the time I recorded a lot of music, a lot of albums. So I think the biggest number, my albums that I recorded, they were gospel music, because that time there were no guitarists gospel music. So my guitarist was Tanga Kwanda, as time went on. So my dynamics also changed as well. But basically, the biggest number we are because of working with our gospel musicians.
All right, we have Clive Mqpfumo, God's favorite writer on Living Legends. In 2001, you decided to go to College of Music after more than a decade of being a professional. Why this time?
When I went to College of Music, that was 2001, and I'd been in the music industry for more than 10 years. And the idea was I wanted to learn the theory side of music. Because on the practical side, I was okay. I was already a guitarist. I was already a keyboard player. I was already a bass player. I just wanted to learn the theory side of music.
Tell me about your outstanding projects.
Most of them are outstanding, but there are some that are my favorites, and those are projects that I did with Oliver Mtukudzi, and projects that I did with artists like Alexio Kawara, Japreza, and Wales, Luciano from Jamaica, and Bongo Ride from South Africa. I think those are some of my highlights.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's talk. We can't talk of money and we leave out Dr. Oliver Mtukudzi. It's not possible. And he chose you to be his leading guitarist. Tell me the most memorable moments you had with him.
There are a lot of memorable moments, because I think that time I worked with him from 2003 to 2007. And I think those are some of my most memorable moments of my music career, because we traveled around the world and we shared the stage with a lot of international artists. So for me, it was a learning process, mingling with musicians from around the world, and I was learning a lot. So I think generally all that time, those 4 years, I think they were some of my happiest moments in the music industry and some of my biggest highlight moments in the music industry.
All right, good indeed. So from a friend and a band member's perspective, what kind of a person was he like?
Oliver Mtukudzi was an introvert sometimes and an extrovert sometimes, but basically he was somebody who was very dedicated to the music industry, as well as dedicated to preserving Zimbabwean culture. So he was always encouraging artists not to run away from being Zimbabwean. So I think he was somebody who was very patriotic.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. All right. So there is also a Chiwoniso Maraire. You know what? I just talked about it because I used to I was actually a fan of her, and I'm still a fan of her music. Tell me more about Chiwoniso Maraire as well.
Chiwoniso Maraire was born in Washington in the United States of America. So she was technically an American citizen, but she never forgot about her Zimbabwean roots. And when she came to Zimbabwe, people were surprised that she was fluent in Shona, in speaking Shona. And she was very much in touch with her roots. That's why she chose to become a Mbira musician instead of becoming, she could have easily become an R&B artist or whatever American genre or whatever Western genre, but she preferred to do a Zimbabwean sound. So she was somebody who was very much in touch with the Zimbabwean roots, somebody who was very proud to be born of Zimbabwean parents, and she was very passionate about the music industry. So I learned a lot from her, and I think she was, of all the people that I worked for, I think she was one of the best bosses I've ever worked for. Chiwoniso and Mtukudzi. Both those people were very good at treating their musicians well, including Pamari. Because Zimbabweans, we know Zimbabweans, I think it's a national problem. It's a national pandemic. But those two guys, I think they are the only two people that I know who were different when it comes to paying their workers.
You know what, Mr. Modi, you can't label us and I sing about that.
Zimbabwe is a totally problem. What my Christo, because I worked in church for about 6 years, and when it comes to Nyaza, that was the worst people. My Christo. You know, when it comes to Amwevesa, I think it's just a national problem. And this group of people, they've got their own way. You try to comfort kudzikamisa nyaya yacho kuti isaitonge nyaya hombe. Kana vari kuchechi ukada kumuleni unobva haudi Mwari, kana zviri zvezvimwe unobva hausi serious nebasa kana kuti haudi nyika yako, but munhu ndangobhadhara mari inokwana. MaZimbabweans were very selfish, and for us to solve a problem, we need to accept kuti tinayo. So mukaramba kuti problem hamuna, you never be able to solve it. So we have to make it clear that as Zimbabweans we have got a serious problem when it comes to nyaya dzekubhadharana. Tine dambudziko hombe. Munhu anokutambirisa mari inokwana 1 week, but anoda kuti uye kubasa every day for a full month. So it's very unfair. I think we need to change.
Indeed. All right. So, as a musician, as a guitarist, you have toured around the world, which most musicians admire. Actually, tell me about that experience. What you've learned traveling around.
I've learned that it pays a lot for you to be in touch with your culture, with your language, and with the music. Because the Zimbabweans, we've got a serious problem with surpass. So, and every time Paganzipane something modern, for example, like Paganzipane music, modern, do you find Mazwana, do you trend? As long as it is Zimbabwe, it's always a foreign type of music. But as South Africa, right now, group fire, not piano, but it's South African, it's homegrown. America, R&B, whatever they do, is homegrown. Jamaica, it's reggae and dancehall, is homegrown. DRC, it's rumba. But every time it's Zimbabwe, it's always something foreign. And that's the reason why we always play second fiddle to other artists. And it does not touch a lot of my artists educated international, because we are just busy copying right now. Everybody's busy copying my Nigerians. You want to shake your body, this and that, sounding like Nigerians. My mother sound like Jamaicans. My mother sound like my Americans. No, Pandey, the biggest problem in my Zimbabweans, and Pandey travel around the world. I notice within the race on it international, they embrace who they are. Some Zimbabweans were always running away from ourselves, and it's a system that has never worked since 1930. Takamutedzera jazz dzekuamerica, tikatedzera rock dzekuamerica, tachine mabhendi erock muno muZimbabwe, tikaita mabhendi efunky, tikaita mabhendi erumba, tikaita mabhendi all types of foreign music, and hazvinambobvira zvashanda. Tikaita maiband groove, zvakaramba kushanda futi pamaiband groove, because maiband groove shona chinhu yatashandisa, but the music was very American and it failed to work. Hapana kaita mari. Right now takukopa maNigerians, hapana kuita mari. So it's like we are going round and round. We need to focus on being who we are. If we want a digital sound, let's digitalize our own Zimbabwean music. Let's stop copying my genres. And as long as we copy, we always play second fiddle to other nationalities.
Indeed. All right. So you have been a guitarist for a long time and you have worked with so many artists as well. What then attracted you to become a producer?
It's something that I discovered later on in the music industry because panapina music industry, she work on different bands. I noticed that I was good at arranging music. I was good at coaching my band. I was good at and that's production. So that was later on. I think one person I was Clive titori kune imwe station kugrama kunana early 2001 Elias Musako. I was working on a project with Elias Musako at that time. So this guy, I think this guy should be the producer. You wait, the executive producer. Executive producer is the one I know founder one. So ndopandakatanga production. So production that year 2001 to year 2002 under Ngawonge Records. But later on, I noticed that there was a shift happening with the music production and went towards digital. So now to let me buy my own equipment, and then I was begin the music production sector, then the young equipment. So Panagana joined all of Mtukudzi. I got the opportunity to buy my own equipment, and that's when I came back into the music production fraternity, owning my own studio.
I've seen you on social media. I actually follow you.
Oh, lovely. Thank you.
You should follow me back, eh?
I think I do. I think I do.
Nice. All right. So you have a huge presence on social media. You upload videos. You teach how to play a guitar. What made you to be on social media? Unlike some of these legends are no longer on social media, and you try to get hold of them. They don't reply. They're not active anymore. What made you to choose the path?
The thing with me is I want to be local and I want to be international at the same time. And I want to move with the times. And within 1964, I'm 2021. So, but I want on social media, jump on the bandwagon. So I want to move with the times. So I think that was the biggest motivation, so that I also communicate with my fans and with my clients on social media. So I interact a lot with my fans and my clients on social media. One way about music industry, and China social media footing. It's like your own newspaper. It's like your own media company. Was you don't have to wait for my newspapers, but I know there's something about you. You're awake on your own page. So now it's a very good thing for me to market myself as well as maintain contact with my fans and with my clients.
All right, that's beautiful indeed. You know what? The music industry was not spared with the COVID-19 pandemic. What do you think the music industry can do to reinvent itself?
This pandemic period is a very difficult period, but for people like me who are into music production, I did not stop. I carried on, but I was mainly doing online work. I was working with artists online. So that area was not 100% affected, but still, I've paid because we lost a lot of revenue because my local artists, Majinji, they can't afford to pay for studio time anymore because they're not doing shows. So because I had my shows, no one on my my studio. So pamari takadziswa zvedu takaiswa half pay, but we just thank God for technology because music production we are still doing this production online. Like album Rana Ishtaurara Bongo Riot win summer for best reggae album last year. We worked 100% online. Group Cambo Boys UK. We work 100% online. Right now, I'm working with an artist from Nigeria. We're working 100% online. So at least on the production side, I was not affected 100%, but 50% yaga because of my lockdown regulations.
All right. So you're a critic and a teacher of music, and you're well known for being outspoken about your views. Be honest with this one. Where do you see Zim music going in comparison with African music, maybe the likes of Nigeria, South Africa, to mention but just a few?
Our biggest problem in Zimbabwe right now, I think we have two biggest problems. Number one is our bad economy. Because kana economy yakashata vanhu havana mari yekusupporta music. Number two, because of bad economy, we no longer have my record labels. So ukatasa kwese kuri kufaya music right now, whether it's Nigeria, South Africa, Tanzania, America, kupi vane marecord labels. Saka marecord labels anobatsira kuti zvinhu zvinotsiswa in structures. Kune marketing vangomirira marketing chete, kune distribution vangomirira distribution chete. Saka let's find a way. Can tubular digital sound is fine. Let's digitalize our own sound. One. Saka as long as chiramba chingokopa, vese vanoramba chingokopa, I tell you they won't go anywhere. Anyway, Zimbabweans. People like Oliver Mtukudzi, Mokoomba, Wana Black Umfolosi, Wanachi, no, what my proper international artists, because they go and play Kune one or Sidma Zimbabweans. But we sit in front of Zimbabweans, but Chatu Pembeza is hype, and the hype in reality is because right now, the most popular musician up to now is still Oliver Mtukudzi, even though Akafa is the most popular international artist from Zimbabwe. They actually Zikano all around the world, all around Africa. Then number two, maybe Pani Mukumba na Thomas Mqpfumo, then Positive Hope Masike, and about 45 up to now. And the reason why is everybody's trying to sound Nigerian, everybody's trying to sound Jamaican, everybody's trying to sound R&B, Nigrini hip hop, chichi, Shaganaka, but let's find a way of Zimbabweanizing our sound. As long as we don't Zimbabweanize, we always play second fiddle.
All right, indeed. Oh, did that bit. Tell me more about your family. My family,
I'm married to Jean Kandea Mukundu. We started dating started at 12 June 1993, and we got married January 1994. And we've got two kids. The first one is Nyasha Tariro. She was born 7 October 1994, and Takakuna was born 25 August 1998. So far, that's the setup of the family.
Indeed, it was nice having you on the show. Actually, this show is sponsored with Proton Bakers. So you have to send me your address so that Proton Bakers will send you a hamburger courtesy of Proton. Direct to. All right, it was Clive Mukundu, God's favorite, our guitarist right here in Zimbabwe. Thank you so much for a wonderful time we had for the last 30 minutes. I must love you guys and leave you right now, but do not despair because next week I am back again, same time, same place with another legend. Bless you all. See you next week.